Let's now begin with our top focus story, and this one is a mega CNN News 18 impact, where we are learning that the Luthra brothers have finally been detained in Thailand. Remember, they're the prime accused in the Goa Inferno case, that entire fire tragedy that took place at their Birch by Romeo Lane outlet in Arpora village in Goa, and they now have been detained in Thailand. CNN News 18 has also accessed the first pictures of the Luthras in custody of the Thai police, which we are putting out for our viewers. Thailand immigration authorities have also spoken exclusively to CNN News 18 and confirmed the detention of the Luthras. The Luthras, in fact, were detained, we are told, early morning today, and the Indian teams are already in Thailand to begin the deportation process now. The Luthra brothers were reportedly living outside the main city area in Thailand and were held after raids were conducted this morning. All of this, remember, comes after the Goa police clarified yesterday that the Luthras had booked a flight to Thailand at 1:17 a.m. from Delhi on December 7th. Post 5 a.m. is when they finally boarded that flight to Thailand to finally flee the country. And while firemen, all of this happened at around 1:17 when they were booking that flight, firemen in Arpora village were still rescuing those who were trapped in the blaze. Meanwhile, a Delhi court has granted a 36-hour transit remand for co-owner of this very property in Arpora, the Birch by Romeo Lane, Ajay Gupta, and that remand has been granted to the Goa police, and the case will be heard in the Rohini court today. So this is a big development from early this morning that we have been tracking from Thailand. So let's get you a lowdown on how did the agencies manage to track the Luthra brothers. So this is how it finally worked out, as India and Thai agencies were in constant touch. Remember, we were talking about the blue corner notice that was issued by the Interpol against the Luthras, and ever since, once we got to know about the whereabouts of the Luthras in Thailand, Indian and Thai authorities were in touch with one another. Intel then pinpointed the targets outside the main city limit, so their movement was finally tracked. Intel was responsible for tracking the movement. Main city limit was the area where they were seen, and that was being monitored constantly by the agencies. Then is when the Luthra brothers were traced by Thai officials, and this was to a resort in Phuket's Kadu area, which is where they were residing. So this is what we've also learned during the course of this entire detention and the raids that were conducted. Indian agencies were then alerted through Interpol channels. Remember, again, that blue corner notice also comes into play here. That doesn't demand an immediate arrest because it's not a red corner notice, but information must be given by the member countries to India because India has put out that notice. Joint operation then finally was successfully conducted on December 11th, that is today. Today morning is when these developments started to trickle in, when both the Luthra brothers, Saurabh and Gaurav, were nabbed from Phuket. The Luthra brothers were detained, then immigration process is right now on. Remember, in fact, they are going to be deported now, and deportation works much faster, so they are going to be deported through channels and going to be gotten back to the country. Luthras are expected to return by later tonight or early tomorrow morning. So that is what we are learning. Remember, it's a 5-hour flight from Thailand to Delhi, and very, very soon the Luthra brothers will be back to the national capital. They will then, in fact, after coming back to Delhi, they will then be taken to Goa on a transit remand. So this is the process. They will be taken to Goa because that is where the tragedy really has happened. That is where the crime has been committed, because they decided to, rather than going to where the tragedy emerged out of, where their own employees lost their lives because of the blaze, they decided to flee the country and scoot. That is what the crime against them is. Culpable homicide not amounting to murder, and these are the charges that will be looked at for the Luthra brothers. Now, let's take a look at what is next for the Luthras now that they have been detained. So, this is what we know. The detained duo will be deported. So, the deportation process works faster, like we've been telling you. They will be deported, and then Indian officials will be taking them in their custody. And that's when the transit remand is going to be sought for the Luthra brothers to be taken from Delhi to Goa. Indian team will be present. In fact, they are present at the Phuket airport because they have been in constant touch with the Thailand counterpart. So they are already there in Thailand and they are there at the Phuket airport. So they are going to be taking the Luthra brothers back to Delhi, and then they arrive in Delhi either later tonight or early tomorrow morning. So once they are in Delhi is when their transit remand is going to be sought and they will be taken to Goa next. So all of this is going to be, in fact, accounted for when it is about what is next for the Luthra brothers, and this is what we are right now learning of. So finally in the dock, they have been trying to flee. They were trying to get away from the clutches of the law because they did panic. They got to know about and they were given that tip-off that there has been this fire incident. And while the fire department or the agencies were still trying to douse the blaze and get the survivors out, instead of taking care of that situation, what they did do was try to look at their own exit plan, decided to flee the country.